Hello, how's everybody doing?
Yep, good.
Hello, YouTube.
A brand new show, Peter. It's very exciting.
Excited to do it. So this is a show, guys, called Boys and the Toys. It's something we've been talking about for a little while now. We've all kind of got history and backstory with action figures and expensive plastic toys, really. So this is a new show where we're going to look at that in a little bit more detail, talk about our collecting habits, and kind of just do a bit of an expose or a bit of a look into certain toy groups, toy companies, collections, and things like that. So I shall just quickly bring this up. So hi GP, how you doing, mate? So as I said, this is Boys and the Toys. First of a no, it's not monthly, is it? So what we're going to do is we're going to do Boys and Toys. Next month we'll do What If. Month after we'll do another Boys and the Toys. So meet the boys. For anybody that doesn't know us, I thought it would be worth just quickly going over who we are and what got we're into collecting. Start with myself. I'm Peter from TripleG Comics. My primary collection is comic books, American CGC books, all that kind of jazz, first appearances. But I do like an action figure. I've liked toys for a long, long time. Collected them when I was much, much younger, and then sold the lot. Unfortunately, I sold all of my carded figures. But more recently, I've started picking more toys up. And particularly over the last month or so, I would say I've gone a little bit mental. I think it's fair to say these guys got us into HotToys, and I kind of, I just went crazy.
Look, you're responsible for your own actions, okay?
No,
you're a full-grown man.
I clearly messaged you last week, Ben, and said, talk us down from buying a toy, and you just said no. I mean, that was
get it.
Yeah. So that's me, guys. Ben.
Yes, I'm a collector of comic books and mainly sort of 1/6 scale figures, which of course will feature heavily as part of today. And what else? I like life-size replicas and props and things. I'm a cosplayer, so a lot of the time I kind of intertwine that in with putting together cosplays and costumes and stuff. So yeah, that's me, the attention-seeking geek.
And that's really interesting, Ben, because that is, again, I know Luke's big on this as well, but that's something I quite enjoy, the prop side of things, and I've got a few bits and bobs. In the future show, I think that's something we should probably focus on, that side of stuff.
Oh yeah.
James T Keegan.
I've always loved action figures my entire life. It, like most of us, I'm sure, goes back to our childhood. I do remember I had a dark phase when I hit maybe 15 and threw out a lot of figures, like literally threw them in the skip, like Marvel Legends, Toy Biz figures and everything. And when you see what they go for now, you're just like, awful. But in terms of like collecting now, I'm a big PlayStation guy, so I can't physically walk past like an Uncharted or Last of Us or Horizon figure or poster or whatever without instantly getting it. So yeah, I've amassed quite a hefty collection at this stage now.
James, you're going to educate me, I think, over the course of these shows, because I think I've got a good knowledge of comic book, cartoon-related action figures and the like. I have no clue about computer game-based figures and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to learning more from you about that.
Absolutely. You'll see most of my picks across this entire show will be leaning that way anyway. So
excellent. And we've got Luke from Hydra Collectibles.
So I mean, I wish I could say that my collection was primary one thing or another, but the truth of the matter is that I am just an addict. I definitely have that collector's gene, and I wouldn't necessarily say that it was because I was a completionist, but I do. Once I get hooked on something, it's very hard to step away. I go through phases throughout the year. I will put a lot of focus on comic books, then a couple of months will pass and that will change to action figures. Then it might change to statues. It will change to a whole number of different things. And once that bug has caught me, it's quite hard to then focus on the other sides. So, at the moment, primarily my channel has always been comic book focused, but every now and then a few toys or figures and stuff do creep in. So, yeah, Hydra Collectibles is pretty much the namesake.
But never drugs.
Never drugs. I mean, God, can you imagine what I'd be like if it was? My addictive nature would just take over.
I mean, how you look now, like double that. Awful.
So, Luke, is it fair to say that you are a completist? If you start collecting a line, do you like to get the full line?
No, so I mean, I know when I want to stop. So, for example, there will be a line of figures, and I might decide that I want to get a certain number of characters to build a team. I don't then have to own every single thing that they release.
Yeah.
So, for example, when it comes to Marvel Legends, I am only primarily collecting Spider-Man on the retro card backs. When it comes to the NECA Turtles line, there was a very specific set of characters that I wanted, so I chose those. So I wouldn't say I was a completionist, or a completist, but I'm always tempted.
See, I'm a bit of a sucker. If I start a line, I like to have them all, but more importantly, particularly with some of the figures I pick up, the older figures, I do like to have all of the accessories and the weapons and things that come with them. So a lot of my collection I pick up only if I can get all of the bits that go with it, which is really hard with some of them.
So for me, that's not a deal breaker. For me, I could be attending. So I will just to put it out there, I will never leave a turtle figure behind, whether it was NECA, Playmates, or Nickelodeon, whoever created it. If I see a Turtles figure at a boot sale, jumble sale, or anything else, I will pick that up and I will bring it home, with or without the accessories.
I'll never leave a turtle behind. I like that, Luke. That's a mantra.
It's the Turtle Trust. There.
Yeah. I like turtles.
See that again?
That was good.
Right, guys. So I put this image up because I
awesome.
As I've said, first of all, this is done by a fantastic artist called Chris Avery Stewart, who lives local to me and does a lot of artwork for us. And he commissioned this piece off from a little while ago. But for me, this summarizes my collecting habits up until late. I've primarily focused on action figures, particularly either key characters or the first figure I can remember buying from childhood cartoon lines. So, for example, Optimus Prime, Matt Tracker in Thunderhawk there, Lionel, Leoric from the Visionaries, those kinds of figures. Do you guys go for stuff that reminds you of your childhood, or are you more into just anything you can get at the moment?
So I actually have a display here that I've only recently packed away because it was in the spare room that we're turning into my daughter's new bedroom. And I called it the Saturday morning cartoon display. And that's literally what this was.
Yeah.
So where I might have, for example, my turtle display on one wall, any duplicates of these turtles I would have there in that display, along with your Optimus Prime, all your visionary characters, your Thundercats, your He-Man, anything from my childhood that I grew up watching on a Saturday morning. Yeah. So that was my Saturday morning cartoon display, as it were.
Yeah. And Ben, are you I know you recently, I'm going to do a lovely segue here for you, Ben. You recently picked up a Power Ranger figure, I believe.
Did indeed, yeah. Thank you for that plug. So I kind of, without meaning to, kind of developed a bit of like a nostalgia detail here, which is kind of very 90s centric. So your Mask and Optimus and Power Rangers and Men in Black and stuff. So yeah, absolutely. I think, to be honest, I think most collectors have that kind of need to ignite nostalgia, within them. Whether we were abused and lost our childhood, or I don't know, but we so desire, the same kind of emotions that we had as kids. And yeah, I think figures are the quickest way to do that.
I think you're right, Ben. Not about being abused kids, but I think you're right in that term.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. This is a Sharon show. Safe place.
It's got dark very quickly.
But for me, a lot of the figures I pick up like Optimus Prime, for example. It's got that
Mm.
emotional connection to us remembering buying it or playing with it or getting it for Christmas when I first kind of opened that package. James, is it the same for you? Because you're picking up computer game related figures mainly.
Yeah, so like my kind of current love of PlayStation is heavily nostalgic. Like I grew up, I remember my earliest memories, my fondest ones often are playing PS1 Spyro the Dragon, and I have a big Spyro collection. In terms of like having things that I had back then, it really just amounts to the actual games themselves. Like a lot of the time I'll be at a Comic-Con, I'll pick up a copy of the game I had when I was a kid, and I will never play it again. It's just to have it there, you know. But in terms of like figures and stuff I collect now, nothing really from my childhood. It's more attached to franchises that I grew up with.
Yeah. You see, now you have sparked my nostalgia there, because I remember playing Spyro when it very first came out. That's how old I am. The first version of it. So these figures.
And how old were you when you did that? Like 20?
Couldn't possibly comment. That was back in my 50s, I think. So this image is talking about really some of those classic cartoon kind of action figures that I watch, and some of those are quite pricey now. So, for example, behind us here, I've got my original Castle Grayskull, which I know Luke's got, which I paid around about £80 for. And at the time, I remember thinking that was a lot of money for an action figure toy. And then around Christmas time, Ben started talking to her about HotToys, which I know some of the guys have already picked up. And that's when I realized just how expensive these dolls can be. Now, for those of you that are watching that don't know what HotToys are, Ben's going to talk through it in a little bit. Each of these shows going forward will have a focus on a toy line or a company or a product. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the figures we may have related to them. So tonight we're doing HotToys. And Ben, I shall hand over to you.
Oh, marvellous. Okay, story time, children. Gather around. Okay, so this is just really just a bit of a brief overview of the history of HotToys that I plagiarised from other websites that did the work for me. So first up, we got Howard Chan, I believe. Next slide, please.
I need you to do it in the style of Chris Whitty, Ben.
Oh, okay. I'm not that ugly. Next slide, please. Okay, here he is. Here is Howard Chan, who is the founder of HotToys, which always shocks me looking at him because he looks like in his 20s.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah.
He looks sprightly, and he's literally the CEO of a multi-million-pound. Anyway, so Howard opened up a small action figure store in Causeway Bay, which I believe I have a picture of, and that was in 1998. And at the time, apparently, it was just known as Cool Toys. So he really put a lot of thought into the names there. Other companies at the time didn't quite sort of reach the level of detail that Howard had kind of dreamed of in terms of his figures. So he started Famous Toys, and the first 3 were unlicensed versions of George Lucas, Neo from The Matrix, and Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt. So next slides.
George Lucas seems a strange one to go for.
Yeah, but the Star Wars. I mean, look at obviously the picture there with him. But yeah, I think Star Wars is a really big thing out there in China and stuff. And ultimately, you'll see a trend with HotToys now, especially, is that they tend to kind of focus on things that will be successful in China.
Right.
First and foremost, and then and that, I think, over time has introduced a bit of criticism in terms of like lack of diversity and stuff like that as well with their figures. But hey, that's another discussion for another day. But yeah, so this is the Tom Cruise figure. So
life size.
size. There he is.
He's watching.
It's my understanding that there aren't many Tom Cruise action figures for that exact reason. He's actually got it in his contract not to have figures, and even though he doesn't state why, I think he's worried about them being to a certain scale with other action figures.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. Because he's an asshole.
He's just unsubscribed from our YouTube channels, I'm sure.
You know what? I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. Okay, so in 2000, Howard used his life savings, apparently, and invested in a new F-14 Tomcat pilot figure under the brand new HotToys brand. So I think I had a picture of that as well. So that's the store. That's the original Cool Toys store back in Causeway Bay. So this is the Tomcat pilot figure. So this was the first kind of one under the HotToys umbrella now. So
sorry, Ben, just in that to me is a marked difference from that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a step up, and
pretty rough, doesn't it? To be honest.
And I'll tell you the reason why it's a step up. It's because it's licensed. So this was the first licensed one. So it was obviously a step up in that way. And he really kind of set that precedence, I think, for detail with HotToys. Now, apparently Howard slept in the factory for 3 straight days to ensure that all the details were kind of there on this figure and stuff. So the man clearly kind of poured his heart and soul into the company. So they continue to kind of focus on that like military style figure up until 2003, which is when they started getting official movie licenses now. So it was like military licenses and then movie licenses. So one of the first big ones and probably their biggest now is, of course, Star Wars, which they acquired the rights to in 2014. And they created the DX07 Luke. That's Skywalker for anyone confused. And from there, they kind of created this alliance with HotToys and Sideshow Collectibles, who previously had all the kind of rights to 1/6 scale Star Wars figures and stuff. And as the years have gone on, we've kind of seen them cover everything from Avengers to Hellboy, Batman to Predator, so on, so forth. They have a global brand that makes them obviously a lot of dollar. And the first official shop is now open. I think I have a picture there, Peter. Next slide, please. All right, okay. We'll come back to it. But there is a shop called Secret Base, which is in Mong Kok, Hong Kong. Say that 10 times. So, yeah. So, right, okay. Next slide then. So this, I've just got a couple of examples of, the different ends of the scale for HotToys. So this is the most expensive figure that they've ever done, apparently. This is the Age of Ultron Hulkbuster. Any guesses, lads?
Well, Ben, when you say most expensive, is that when they've released it, not secondary market?
When they released it, just when it came out initially, and I imagine secondary market as well.
Oh, yeah.
So how much?
I imagine this is like almost $1,000. This is
I think it was
way up there.
$1,200.
Oh, you're very close. James did his research. $1,150.
Yeah,
I haven't guessed yet, Ben. What, 150?
That's spot on. Sorry,
you deserve to host, Peter.
I automatically discounted your point of view.
Over $1,000 for a toy.
Yeah, it's.
But you see, Peter, you're saying that, but you do spend that sort of money on pieces of paper in the form of comic books.
Good point.
And I guess if you're looking at these figures and they're what 200 quid each, you've got 2 details full. If you just got rid of those and had the one figure, so it does work out, but obviously it's a lot.
It's die cast, it's real metal. You can open it up and put another Iron Man figure in it and stuff. It is quite.
Yeah, an Iron Man legit fit into it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
how big it is.
I would argue that one like that would be better as well because of what it's made out of. It doesn't have all the fabric and it won't wear as much.
Yeah, Iron Man is extremely popular with HotToys.
I wonder how much they go for on the secondary market now.
Weirdly enough, I haven't looked.
Back a bit, Ben. That's all I'm saying.
Out of reach for me. Right. Okay. Next slide.
Out. Would you buy one if you had the money? Would you buy one?
No,
I'll buy 5 ones, smaller ones that I want.
Yeah, that's what I mean. To be honest, like Iron Man's never been top of my Marvel hit list. So.
Yeah.
But if you're an Iron Man fan, then I imagine it's a no-brainer if you have the money. And while we're on the subject of Iron Man, it's also the rarest Hot Toys figure that ever came out, apparently. So this is from 2012, and there were 2 versions released. So you had the movie promo edition, and then you had this one, which was the joint promo edition, whatever the hell that means. But this one only had 16 pieces released compared to like 3,000, which the movie promo had one. I don't know how many they make of stuff these days. I imagine it's a lot more, like 5,000, 6,000 maybe. I don't know. But yeah, 16 of these were made. So it's the rarest. So I guess the question is now, I wonder what goes for more, this or a Hulkbuster?
Yes. Must be this.
You reckon?
Yeah, based on
3, 4, 5 grand.
Get on eBay chat. Let us know.
Now that you've told me all this information, I want one of those in the Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? Oh, the women would be queuing up.
To point and laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. You could have bought a car. Yeah.
Is that your last one?
I believe so. Is there any others? Oh no. Okay. So yeah, obviously today's feature is one sip scale in general. So we focused a lot on Hot Toys as the kind of premier brand, but of course now the market is very, very competitive, I would say. And I'm kind of fully behind a couple of these different companies actually with what they're putting out at the moment. So these are third party, usually unlicensed figure companies. That being said, FreeZero, whose Power Ranger I just acquired, do have some licenses and stuff. Mondo produces license
mostly
stuff.
known for like artwork prints and vinyls and stuff. So Mondo, I have a Mondo that I'll be showing off, but it's interesting. Like they only really do mostly He-Man stuff. It's Skeletors and the
Batman animated series stuff is pretty beautiful as well. They did it's not really a figure, more like the kind of statue pieces, but the Rick and Morty's great. I think they did an Iron Giant. So yeah, Mondo's brilliant. They seem to be focusing more on that animated style, bringing that to life, which is great that they kind of cornered that. Blitzway do some official stuff as well. Very expensive on the second-hand market, but the Ghostbuster Blitzway one sip scale range and they even did an Ecto. And I feel like I saw a teaser a while back, so I think potentially we might be getting a new version of the Ecto release. I imagine that's going to be like $1,000 as well, but still, imagine one sip scale, ridiculous.
So these third-party ones, then Ben, because I haven't got any of these, but I know you guys have. Are they, in terms of quality, are they comparable to the Hot Toys ones? Do you think?
I would say that Hot Toys are next level in terms of their head sculpts. I would say specifically, and the paint applications on the skin for like a Hot Toys, you can tell the difference. But the price is different, like a Hot Toys is usually comes in at about 200 to 250 quid new, whereas like these third party figures are 150 quid. So you're paying for what you get, I think. And a lot of the time, what these third party companies are doing is they're making the figures people want, but Hot Toys aren't making. Okay. So like I've got my mask, which is just like a dream figure. I recently acquired the Rorschach, the Susu Toys Rorschach figure review on my channel, which you can watch after this if you want to. And that's amazing. And I think that's going to be part of a whole team now, and the Suicide Squad. So Hot Toys tend to drop the ball quite a lot sometimes with things they clearly don't care for. So like Suicide Squad, for example, they're releasing the King Shark, but that seems to be it now. So it's like you know, you want your Suicide Squad, but you're now having to go to kind of third party options to kind of fulfill.
You see that worries me for, you know, my kind of collector's brain. So, for example, if they were to produce a Donatello turtle and then drop the line after that, that would mess me up, I think.
Yeah.
So it seems a strange model, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I would always say to people is I would never buy a HotToys thinking, right, this is going to be the first one of a team of, like the Eternals. They announced Fina the other day. There's no way they're making all of those Eternals.
Yeah.
And especially, can I just say, a black gay guy, like they are not making that figure, like, and then that's sad, but I think that's unfortunately the fact of the matter.
HotToys is also notorious for having like demo versions at conventions that just never come out. Like Michael Keaton Vulture just never came out. Various Spider-Man costumes never came out. So it's just a thing, you know. You can until you actually pre-order it, you just don't know if that's actually going to happen.
And again, just for my knowledge, and I'm thinking back to, again, another plug for you, Ben, a video that Ben did recently on his Ape Sapien. Are there issues with the costume quality degrading and things like that over time?
They've learned a lot from previous mistakes, and you know, like a lot of things you don't discover until you've had it 6 years. Right. So like the Ape Sapien, you're only going to know that through having it for a very long time. But I think it's now on their it's on their radar when they are making figures. So I think things like rooted hair. I know me and James have spoken about rooted hair before, but like I think a lot of companies are trying to avoid that now because it does not age well.
Leather flaking is a notorious thing as well.
Yeah. So the Rorschach figure, initially they announced it with a, you know, pleather kind of leather jacket, and people messaged and, you know, responded to the promo pics, and they actually changed it on release. Right. So we said now he comes with like a I don't know, like a suede sort of material. So you know, it's definitely something that the companies are kind of learning from. But yeah, if you pick yourself up one of those Iron Man figures, like this Optimus Prime is amazing because it's just all plastic. So there's no elements of that I'm worried about, you know, degrading or anything like that. But yeah, it's part of the game, unfortunately. I think if you're picking one up, don't expect it to look the same in 15 years. Like us. We're not going to look the same in 15 years. We're going to degrade.
Something, isn't there, about the joints kind of weakening over time if you pose it in the same place? Have you got to keep adjusting the joints or something?
Yeah, I guess that's like so there's different poses in the 1/6 scale game apparently. So they call them I think they call them music. Can I just say as well, every little bit of like nugget of information I get is from Justin's collection.
Great, fantastic channel. Yeah, awesome.
So he is like the almighty for anything 1/6 scale. I am not worthy, but so I think they call them like museum poses, which is just like a character pose, which is how I have most of my figures, to be honest. But if you were to do something a little bit elaborate, like have the Power Rangers
dynamic poses,
yes, James.
Dynamic poses. Do your research, Ben. God damn.
My notes. So yeah, that's the posing game, and I guess it's the risk of the more elaborate you are, the more of a risk there is. I just realised this light is shining on Optimus's crotch area, like a holy penis. Look at that.
Right, thank you very much for that. That's really interesting. I'd be interested to know if anybody in the comments has got any HotToys. So if you do own any HotToys, please stick the name of the toy you've got in the comments, and we'll have a look at that. So the reason we've focused on HotToys, I guess, is because I think was it just before Christmas you guys were talking about different figures you've got.
I think it was What If. We're just before What If X-Men.
Yeah, and
I think it was the pre-show or post-show, but we were talking about figures we were getting.
Yeah,
and I got HotToys. I don't know.
I got jealous, and as usual, I needed something.
Yeah.
So over the course of the last 4 weeks. I'm just being, who am I kidding? My wife doesn't watch this stuff, so it doesn't matter. But over the course of the last 4 weeks, I've bought 4 Hot Toys.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Went a little
Slippy
bit
slope.
now, I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it quite quietly, the price ranged from, I think, £180 upwards, with the last one being particularly expensive.
All Hot Toys.
All Hot Toys, yeah.
Okay.
Now,
180 for a Hot Toy is quite good.
That's
Yeah,
really
it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
now you
Well, it
guys,
depends what it is. Like,
all right, yeah, it might be shit. Do you know
it's
what I
like
mean?
a Shatari foot soldier or like the
Yeah,
Mandarin or something.
It's that horrific Captain Marvel one with a massive head. No.
Yeah, you can pick her up dead cheap.
Yeah. So you guys say that you are my friends, or some of you do. So you should know me now.
Acquaintance.
We've spoken at length. So I'm going to test you. I'm going to test to see how much you actually know me as an individual. I've not told any of you which Hot Toys I've bought. So we're gonna go around and see how well you can predict and guess what I've picked up. I'm not going to. I'll show you the boxes and things like that, but I'm not going to open all 4. I'll do that on my own channel. Plug TripleG Comics. But I may open one of them just to show people the kind of figures we get. Yeah. So, Ben, we'll start with you. What do you think I've bought?
Now, if you'd said you'd got some Mondo ones, I would have straight away said you got a He-Man character of some sort.
I didn't like it. I looked at the He-Man and I wasn't keen.
Very colourful.
So the next kind of the cliche answer for someone that knows you is like that you picked up a Thor, but then I know that you've not fallen in love with all the Thors that they've released so far. But I'm gonna stick my neck out and I am gonna go with Endgame Thor.
Ben, I'm afraid we can no longer be friends. I just failed, Benjamin. Failed.
God damn it.
Luke. Right. This is for best friend status. This. Come on, Luke. What have I got?
So my biggest problem here is I don't know what franchises Hot Toys have actually done. So I could name something that isn't even a Hot Toy. That's my biggest concern.
Most comic book superhero movie stuff.
Like Marvel, DC, like Batman and Star Wars, I would say.
See, because I know that he loves his Thundercats, but I don't know if they would have done a Hot Toy Thundercats.
I think Mondo maybe did.
Yeah.
I've not seen any Thundercats. You're right.
So outside of that, I'm going to lean more towards like the sci-fi element, and I'm going to say you've bought a robot of some kind, whether that be like RoboCop or Terminator. I'm not sure.
Getting warm.
But definitely a robot.
Yeah, hot.
Is it Battlestar Galactica?
No.
It's so much funnier when it's not happening to you.
Just to go back to the comments there, GP mentioned Thor. GP, I strongly wanted to buy a Thor, but I have to say I haven't liked any of the ones I've seen. Even the non-Hot Toy ones, I wasn't a big fan of, to be honest. I don't know what it is with them. Have you guys seen the Thor Hot Toys? They're just, I don't know.
Yeah, some of them don't look great, but some of them you can get for pretty decent prices.
I do
like the Endgame one.
I feel like it's unfair now because James has clearly Googled Hot Toy robots.
I already am almost certain what one of them that you got, and it's nothing to do with robots, and it's nothing to do with Thor. I'm going to say
I'm liking your confidence, James.
I'm going to take a wild swing and say that you got a Keaton Batman.
Oh, James! So this one...
You're his best friend now, unlucky.
Is that the most expensive one?
This isn't the most expensive. So this is a Michael Keaton Batman. This is the second one this is the third one I bought. It's not the most expensive. Right. This thing is friggin' amazing.
If it doesn't have a normal head sculpt with just his panda eyes on it, I'm not interested.
Get 3 head sculpts. So the first thing I'll show you. Let me see that.
Just look at that box alone.
Beautiful.
So this comes out, and you can put a torch to it.
Stop it! I did not know that. Yeah. That's so cool.
We'll then get the detail on this is phenomenal. I mean, it is just Michael Keaton. So you get 3 facial. It's the jawline slides off.
You need to make your camera bigger. Let everyone see this in all its glory.
Yeah,
Well,
Man,
that's
you're
not
forgetting. I have no idea about technology. James, you'll have to do that. There we go.
There we
Peter,
go.
I'm telling you, this is a grail figure for a lot of Hot Toy
Yeah.
fans. Like, this is
beautiful.
me
So
included.
it's
God damn it.
absolutely stunning. What I hadn't realised as well is they've got this eye thing, so you can shift his eyeballs around, which is amazing.
Yeah. You take the thing
Like
off.
the old, like the old Action Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of them, I think not Keaton, but other Batmans, you can pull off the face and swap the jaw. Like,
Yeah, so you can with that one, James. You've got 3 jaw options.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, why I like this particular one. I'm a bit of a sucker for accessories. So you get the cape there, obviously. You then get the grappler, ninja stars, the grapple gun, all kinds of bits and bobs to play with and to chuck into them. The base lights up. It's just stunning. Absolutely stunning. So you can take us off big now, James, if you don't mind. So that was the 3rd hot toy I picked up.
Mate, I'm big just by seeing that figure. Big in my pants.
So yeah,
Unbelievable.
So I guessed it, so I win this one, right?
No, that means you're my best friend. Yeah.
A close second.
I don't know if that's a prize.
Like,
No. So
Means
yeah,
you
More of
can
a
go round
bird.
to his house and play with his little man.
any of you can do that.
it's for the after show.
So yeah, so that's the Batman, Michael Keaton. It's gonna go pride of place.
You've peaked.
Yeah,
Well,
you won't
no,
go much further
I
than
haven't.
that one.
I haven't. So that was the 3rd most expensive. It's a beautiful figure. I haven't taken these out of the box properly yet, but I did check them over to make sure all the bits were there and things like that. This is the one where I took a bit of a punt, if I'm honest, because the eBay seller had 0 feedback and then messaged us to say that he'd posted the wrong item or something. And I was like, oh!
I think I've just had another guess of who you might have got. Have you got Judge Dredd?
Oh, I haven't. No. I don't know if they do a Judge Dredd.
No, there's third-party Judge Dredd, but no Hot Toys.
Okay, guys, well, time's getting on, so we'll rattle through the next 3. So, what else do you think I might have picked up? Howie, easy. Most expensive one I've got. If you've got
I failed at the first hurdle, so
if you've got a Batman, you need a Jack Nicholson Joker, don't you? Do you know what I mean? To go
Look
with
at
that.
Ben's envy.
literally, he's killing me. He's
This
killing me.
thing, this thing is friggin' amazing. So, again, same beautiful style box. You get the Joker symbol on that.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. All kinds of.
Do you know what you could do with that? You could shine it onto the wall and then paint around it, stencil it, use it as a stencil.
Make it big, James. You get tons of accessories with this. You get the flower. You get 2 different versions of the coat. But just look at that face.
Oh
So
man,
good.
it's just so good. Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Ben, your credit card's calling you.
Get paid tomorrow as well.
So I just love it. This is one of my favorites, and I love it. It's got on the bottom of the box there. Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight? So I love it.
I love it.
Very
So,
cool.
Peter, were both of those from the same seller?
No, different sellers. I got
So
the
it wasn't
Batman.
someone who was selling their collection.
No,
You
I
really
got-
didn't care how much you paid, did you?
I got the Batman, and then I saw the Joker, and it was just obscene for a toy.
There are 2 different third-party versions of the Joker that are out now.
So
in terms of Nicholson Joker.
So there's that one, which was the Hot Toys. There's then a Hot Toys where he's in the mime costume.
Yeah, that's the one
Yes,
that's
which is
kind of getting released by
cheaper.
other people.
Cheaper, but I'm not keen on it. And then there's a third party one I was actually looking at today where he looks cross-eyed. So
Yeah, like the head sculpt, like just nothing compared. This is what I was saying earlier. Like you get what you pay for, and that extra £100 to get a Hot Toys Nicholson sculpt,
absolutely
worth it.
Absolutely.
Peter Lidbetter has a good shout there. Toys Wonderland is where a lot of kind of UK
All right.
buyers go for theirs, and
Peter, you
Definitely,
shouldn't have said that, mate, because I'll be checking that out tonight.
So you got Toys Wonderland do a lot of all the licensed stuff, and then if you go to Comic Sanctorum, they do all the third-party figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next one I bought, or the one before that, was Captain America.
Nice.
I was looking at one of these yesterday.
Picked this one
I'm
up
tempted.
purely because I love the costume, but also you get Mjolnir, the shield, the broken shield. You get the little compass with the image of Peggy in it. It's just lush. And then the face sculpt. I think this is what really got us impressed with them. It's like you were saying before, Ben. The face sculpt looks exactly like Chris Evans. You know, I can't get away from the fact that these things look so realistic. You know,
And it's something that they've just gone back over and over again with Chris Evans, because obviously all the different films, and it's not like they've just sat on one sculpt and just reused it. Like, that sculpt has got better and better every single time they've done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that has helped me refrain from buying MCU figures is that every time they release one, I'm like, there's going to be a nicer costume with the next movie. And
I think you're right, James. And
and everything.
I strongly considered picking up that Endgame 4 to go alongside that figure. And then I think it was Ben or someone messaged us and said, would you not rather wait? It might be Luke, actually. Would you not rather wait until the next movie comes out and see what costume? And I thought, well, it's a lot of money to pay for something that you're not particularly 100% behind.
Exactly, yeah.
So my last one, which I thought you would guess, mind, based on, you know, the kind of stuff I collect, and I just couldn't bear the fact that Ben had one and I didn't, is Optimus.
Is it Starscream or...
When you said robot, I guess.
This is the weird thing. So yeah, this is the Optimus Prime, same figure as Ben's got in the background there, except Ben, yours is the Megatron version, I think.
Yeah, I got the Megatron one, yeah.
So this is the Starscream version.
Nice. It's a better one, that one.
Well, is it? So I like the actual Prime figure, but as a bit of a Transformers geek, I don't understand the accessories they've put with them. The Starscream bits and things just don't make sense.
I mean, I don't use any of the Megatron stuff on mine, to be fair.
Yeah,
I just wanted Optimus.
What I did, so exactly, but so I was the same. I wanted Optimus. I then, when I bought it, looked at the YouTube videos of the guy you mentioned before. What you call him? Is it Justin?
Justin's Collectibles.
Yeah. And I had a look at the figure because that was the first one that arrived, and I cannot bear the gun they've put with him. It's not Prime's gun, and I cannot work out what the hell it is. So Prime's gun for me is quite iconic. And Justin was saying the same thing. So I didn't get my head around that. So what I did, I went on eBay and I typed in large scale Optimus Prime gun and found this Matrix Workshop, which I think is from China.
Yep.
And got a large scale Optimus Prime gun, which I've adapted slightly.
You're becoming a little expert now.
I'm going to say, you're going to bloody trumped my Prime now.
So I've got a much better gun. Like I say, I've adapted the handle so it fits in his hand better. So I can get
what scale is that Optimus Prime? Because granted, they are hot figures, but they're not going to be 1/6, are they? Because they're smaller.
I haven't got a clue, Luke. I don't know.
Don't ruin it, Luke, for us.
Yeah, it doesn't count, Peter. It's not 1/6. Okay.
But Luke's got a very good point because Prime should be
maybe
huge. So
it's probably 1/30th or something like that.
But the reason why I ask is going back to Mondo with their He-Man stuff. They are making Battle Cat, and they are making it huge so that it can have the 1/6 scale figure riding it.
Right.
So that's what makes me just wonder about other things in these lines, like the Transformers, because you would buy it and it would be huge.
Yeah. Interesting, yeah. Okie dokie, guys. So that's the hot toys I've picked up at the moment. I've got a few more on my watch list because they are very, very sexy and nice. So what have you guys got? So quite right, Peter. Size does matter. So shall we start with Luke? Luke, I shall make you big, potentially.
So just completely off the bat, I don't have any Hot Toys. Not Hot Toys specifically. I do have a Young Rich Toys Miles Morales, which is a third-party unlicensed company, which I did buy from Toys Wonderland. And here he is down here. So I opted to actually dress him in the Spider-Man Halloween costume, because when you actually buy him, he does indeed actually come in his Miles Morales costume and the hoodie and everything else. But I just thought this was a lot more fun, a lot more unique, and it's something that the Hot Toys version hasn't yet done. So for me, this is a lot more fun. This is a lot more. This was one of my favorite things about that movie, seeing Miles dressed up in this costume. I just thought it was very comedic and just good fun. So that is probably the closest to Hot Toys that I have. Now, when I got this, Ben and I also attempted to do our own Stan Lees. So I made sure that I gave him the Spider-Man costume to hold. And this was just a head sculpt that we found from a third-party place on eBay. And I just purchased various clothes and a body in order to make my very own Stan Lee. And then prior to all of that, years and years and years ago, there was a game that came out. So this is right up James's alley, Dead Island. And
Yes.
I managed to get one of these
Deadly.
zombie figures, which was, I believe it was like a store exclusive or something quite rare. But this
Right.
was actually gifted to me from a friend who worked in one of these stores. I think he worked in Game or something. So he gave me this from the display cabinet once they were done with it. So he's just lived up on my shelf like all this time.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome.
yeah, quite a nice figure. Again, not Hot Toys, but still fun.
You could
Before
customize
Ben
that and
says
make a
anything-
1/6 scale version of me.
I was just about to say, before Ben says anything, yes, that does resemble me. I was going to say slightly, but yeah.
We're both
So,
self-deprecating, Peter.
Luke, they are absolutely tremendous. A couple of questions for you. The cape on Miles Morales,
Yes.
has that got some kind of wire in it or something? Because
Yeah,
I'm
it
thinking about
does.
my Batman cape.
It has the wire in it, so it can literally just like look like it's flowing in the wind. And then
Yeah.
obviously he's got like little plastic web shooters as well on his wrists. So
Tremendous.
it's just an amazing sculpt.
Yeah.
What was great about this, and again I'm going to plug my own YouTube channel here because I've got 3 videos based on this figure. Because when I purchased it, I opened up and all the accessories, it came with the multiple heads, the costumes, and everything else. So I had to go at making additional figures from the accessories.
Right.
So not only do I have this Miles, but I have another 2 versions of Miles based on the accessories. So different head sculpts put on secondary bodies with all the clothing and gear. They're not perfect, but for the money that was spent, getting 3 figures out of the one box
yeah,
went a long way.
100%, yeah. Get your money's
And
worth.
then, would you hold your Stan up again?
Yeah.
Because I would absolutely love a Stan Lee figure, but I have to say the Hot Toys ones didn't do it for me at all. So the Hot
this is
Toys ones were
This is a really nice head sculpt.
it's-
Like
I
all
love the head sculpt,
glasses
yeah, like
into it.
Ben's as well, tremendous.
Get your stands out.
You see, I want one of those because the Hot Toys ones is either the Barber from Ragnarok or the Watcher, whereas I just want a Stan Lee in his.
They
there
did do
yeah.
one, but it's a lot of money because it's one of the first ones they did. So
Right.
So there's one
Sorry
more
about
that I've got to show. This is completely random because it doesn't even really tie into all of this. Because technically it's from Mattel and technically it's a Barbie. But it's the modern version of Shadow Weaver from the She-Ra series that they released on Netflix a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with this character. So I've always enjoyed the old She-Ra cartoon from back in the 80s. Always liked the character of Shadow Weaver, even in that. But this one just knocked it out of the park. So I sat and watched that show with my daughter, who first put it on. And I found myself just fixated with it every time this character came on screen. And so when I had an opportunity to purchase one of the toys, I went for it. So this is my first and currently only Barbie doll figure.
So just going back there, did you just admit to the masses on YouTube that you became fixated with a female cartoon character and then bought a rubber doll? I mean, a plastic doll. of it?
I sure did.
you know,
And
there's
it's
another
the
word
first-
for that,
the first
and
time
it's
I've ever
called
figured it.
fetish.
Tremendous, Luke. I love them. Very, very good. I'm very jealous of your Stanley, I have to say. James, shall we come to you next?
Rightio. So I have 3 1/6 scale figures, sort of like a little trifecta, because one is a Hot Toy, one is a Mondo, and one's a Sideshow. So
Oh, nice.
start off, you've probably seen this in the background of some of my videos. It's my
Tremendous.
advanced suit Spider-Man from Hot Toys. Really awesome figure. I hated this suit design when I first saw it, and I've just fallen in love with it since. It's not
So
my
James,
favorite.
sorry to
Spider-Man
interrupt,
suit.
mate. Sorry,
Yeah.
is that from the computer game then?
Yeah, this is from the PS4 game.
Okay.
Funny enough, they've announced a sequel a few months ago, and the suit is a little different, but it's like a deeper red, and I'm like, ooh, I might have to upgrade when that comes out. But yeah, at one point in my life, I was going to collect like all the Spider-Man PS4 stuff, but I think they're on their 10th hot toy now. I'm just like, I can't. So anyway, there we go. This is Spidey. I love.
Yeah, I can't believe how deep they've gone into that range.
Yeah. Well, there's like 50 something suits they can tick through. You know, this classic and.
We need Amazing Bagman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you can take the eyes off. There's different eyes you can put on it. It's different webs and stuff. This is like the most dynamic pose I have for a figure.
Yeah.
But Spidey has to be. Can't put
Oh,
Spidey in a museum pose, you know.
I like the effects of the web shooters there.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? So they click
Yeah.
in. There's different length ones and stuff, and then I have this one that's kind of swinging off of. One problem I've seen people have is that if you like move because this is like a rubber suit. If you move them too much, they'll stay stretched.
Right.
Like it's baggy and stuff, but
Yeah.
so it's kind of dynamic, but not too much.
Yeah.
So I'm hopefully.
Again, that's interesting, James, because that's what Justin said on his video about the Michael Keaton Batman, that because of the material of the costume,
Rubber.
he's very hard to pose. So you kind of just need him stand still, really.
That would only be if you change the pose, right? If you've got it in the pose and you just leave it there, it'll always just be fine.
Yeah.
But it's if you decide a couple of years later to change the pose, it might ruin it if you do it too much anyway. So that's my hot toy. So next up, this is a heavy one. This is a Mondo Kratos from God of War.
Oh, wow. He's a beast.
Yeah, it's so weighty, like it's insane. Like I think there's probably like 10 individual pieces on them, like bags and knives and stuff like that. The shield is a magnet that just sticks on.
Oh, that's cool.
Comes with like different weapons and stuff. I do kind of want to have
Bloody head on his belt.
What? Yeah, he does. That's my mirror. Yeah, I saw that. I remember I saw this local comic shop was getting it in, and I was like, I have to have that. Love God of War. So the only thing is the space in my room, like I kind of have different spots for different like franchises.
Yeah,
my God of War section is so packed I can't really put him in more of a dynamic. Like I would like to have him kind of swinging the axe and stuff.
He looks pretty menacing and cool there, James.
Yeah, it's pretty. I love it. So that's a good one. Yeah, only thing about it is the base is just kind of black. And I'm like, oh, might get a sticker or something for that, but that's Kratos. This is the one I'm afraid is going to fall over. So put him down. There we go. And last, but probably my favorite figure, 1/6 I have anyway. This is a Sideshow Nathan Drake from Uncharted 3.
Is that the Tom Holland movie?
Yes, the Tom Holland is playing him in the movie, but this is from the video game. This is actually almost the same outfit that Tom Holland is wearing in the thing, but this is from Uncharted 3. So this is from 2011, I think 2012, and you could definitely tell HotToys has come a long way with likenesses and stuff. Like it's okay, but it's not exact. But
would you be tempted to get a Tom Holland head sculpt for it?
No. I just
wow. Okay.
Not even hope. I mean, technically, I could. Like, if you got a Tom Holland figure, you could just do a little swap. But
there wasn't much hesitation there, man, was it?
I have no faith in that movie at all. It can only really pleasantly surprise me because I think it's going to be not good at all. But yeah, I love this one. So that's a great one. It has the gun, which has a removable. If I can find it, it just fell off. Yeah, there it is. Yep. Like the gun has
1/6 scale bullets.
A removable bullet magazine. That's the word. So if I can get it to go back in, please tell me I didn't break it on camera.
Oh, content!
Imagine. Yeah, no, there you go. Yeah, so
okay.
He's slightly disappointed.
So. There you go. So that's my 1/6 collection for the moment.
I like how this is the thing I think I like about these 1/6 scales is how detailed they are with things like magazines that remove and the little knives that go in places and ninja stars and all that kind of stuff. There's like a lot of attention to the smaller detail, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Ben, what we got?
I just wanted to point out Peter's comment in the chat as well. So he's saying that he has that original Stan Lee that comes with a director's chair and stuff. Very, very cool. Very jealous. Right. I'm not going to get them all out because I can't be asked. But you can see my mask. So that's Dark Toys mask, the HotToys Optimus, the 3-0 Black Ranger. I can't remember the company, but it's a third-party company that made these Men in Black figures.
Right.
I am due to hopefully upgrade the head sculpt because they did a Josh Brolin head sculpt for like Men in Black 3. I kind of want to get a Tommy Lee head on there.
Yeah. Nice.
But then that being said, it's Boris. So it is kind of Men in Black 3 anyway. Right. So it does, it's fine. But the head sculpts are pretty bad in general, to be fair. It's just like... so I probably need to invest at some point. And then my other cabinet, you've got the Susu Toys Rorschach, which is a pain in the arse, but it's worth it. But it was a hellish experience to try and change the heads and hands. Yeah. Heads, hands, all the pegs, really stiff.
Is there maybe anywhere on the internet that we could look at a more detailed thing of your opinion on that figure? Because I don't think we'll have time now to go over all of it.
That's funny. You should say that. If you guys head over to my channel, there's full reviews of the Rorschach, of the Abe Sapien that's underneath in the HotToys Abe Sapien. Bit of a gamble because it's a very, very old figure. Did the gamble pay off? No, not a little bit. But I also had to clean my hands for about 5 days after handling it. It's degraded that much. And then you've got the Stan Lee. And then underneath, I've actually got, very randomly, it's a Nightmare Before Christmas deluxe doll. So they've done a couple of the deluxe dolls, and they're kind of 1/6 scale if Jack Skeleton was a real thing. I wanted to show this as well because HotToys they've dabbled in the kind of prop replica 1:1 scale kind of world. They did like the Spider drone and stuff. But I've actually got the pager, the Captain Marvel pager. And it's very fun. Lights up there, and she'll be here in like 5 minutes to help me.
What you helping you with?
You don't want to know. She doesn't want to know. And then I wanted to show like why sometimes an idea is best kept in your head. This is my Kit Bash Tony Stark. Which you see that shine? That's because I was super glued everywhere. It went all over my fingers. The residue is all on his back. Look how tight the suit is. It's horrendous. So yeah, all I would say is maybe do research on things before you try it.
Because without the tash and the goatee, it looks like Mulder.
You know what? It's not a terrible head sculpt. I don't think
it's all right.
No, actually, it's not
That's
bad.
all right.
If it weren't for the shine, I would say that was a pretty good Kit Bash.
Yeah, but I did buy this a while back and a chain, and I was like, had it in my head that I wanted to try and create a 1/6 scale Ghost Rider. But I've never got around to it. So who knows? I might just put that on there and make like a really macabre waiter or something. But yeah, so I mean, for me, I'm fully down the 1/6 scale rabbit hole. I think other than my Marvel Legends and my NECA Universal Monsters, I'm pretty much kind of focused on the 1/6 scale stuff. My kind of targets now are I really want to build up a Suicide Squad, and I've got the HotToys King Shark on order, and tomorrow I'm hopefully going to put my pre-orders in for the Susu Toys and the Susu Toys Bloodsport, and the Polka Dot Man as well, Thunder Toys, I think that one. Tremendous. And the Susu Toys are going to be carrying on the Watchmen line, so I really want to get the Comedian next as well.
Yeah.
Then you're going to buy a Batman and Joker, right?
And yeah, I want a Batman and Joker.
Ben, when you were moving your camera around there, mate, you had some large-scale turtles, and I know Luke's got the same. Are they 1/6 size figures, or are they?
No, they're 1/4. You can't really see them that well. That's my
Spoiling the neck episode here, Peter.
Yeah,
I love them. I want them.
You know what? If you're lucky, I
It's
might get them
wonderful.
out for you on the
You're
next
taking it away
episode.
from me.
Okay, guys. So thank you very much for showing your Hot Toys or equivalent 1/6. I think we've got some really interesting pieces there. Always nice to see what other people have got, and then you get very jealous and go away and buy them, don't you? So I'll be looking to pick up some of those things. Right, just quickly go back. So one of the other things we wanted to do as part of this was to do news and things that we're looking forward to buying or things that we're looking forward to picking up. So we will start off, if I can find it, with this little bit of news. So I think that was literally just last week. We got those little kind of teasers for things coming out, didn't we? What are you most excited of from that lot? So that was basically HotToys confirming that they've got the license for some of the up and coming Marvel stuff. So Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, and other areas, and they've also got the license for the new Batman, which I have to say the trailer looks absolutely phenomenal. Looking forward to that. What do you guys think? What there piques your interest?
I'd be really excited to see what their Moon Knight looks like.
Yeah,
with the light up eyes, I assume, and everything. Could that be
just the level of detail with all the wrapping and stuff is going to look really cool, I think.
Yeah. Do you think they'll go for the TV show imagery, or do you think they'll go for like a comic accurate, or is it nearly always
Marvel Studios
TV
show? Yeah.
Moon Knight, dare I say it without getting slated, is not a character I've particularly been interested in, but I love the look of him, and I love all the accessories I think you'll get with him and all the rest of it. I think you'll look like a stunning figure.
Yeah.
Luke, what on that lot piques your interest?
So whatever they create, it's very unlikely that I'm going to be able to afford to purchase anyway. But just based on it looking good and what I would like to see, if they are indeed going to do Thor: Love and Thunder, I want to see Gore the God Butcher.
Oh yeah, you get some lovely accessories with that, couldn't you? Different versions of the blade and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that would look pretty cool. And that's Christian Bale playing him, isn't it?
Yep.
I have very little excitement from what I've seen of the trailer for their version of the new Thor costume, I have to say. I don't know what I want. I think I wanted a traditional costume from a Thor figure.
I'm more excited for his casual look with the like Thunderstrike style, like red leather coat, and if you look at the boots in that picture, he's got like the yellow and black wrappings around the boots of that. So I'm more excited for that outfit.
Peter, would you not just call it now, based on you having the Captain America from Endgame, and would you not just call it now and get the Thor and Iron Man to match?
Yeah, to be honest, Luke, I think that's where I'm going, because the Thanos, to be honest, the battle damage Thanos is tremendous.
It went from one. This is the thing.
It's escalated.
You have one, and then you're like, oh, well, I could get these two to go with it. And like, oh, but they could have this guy to fight, and it's just it's a snowball.
And then next thing you know, Peter's going, Avengers assemble on your left, and there's like 500 characters, like Howard the Bloody Duck, and
He would have to.
Oh my god! Why have we not got a 1/6 scale Howard the Duck? Can I just say? Make that happen,
Howard the Bloody Duck.
You'd have to give up a lot of comic books, Peter, to afford all these.
Yeah. But it's on the I can dream, can't I? And
the books he's got, you could just get rid of one book. And
I was just about to say that. Yeah, one that you really like.
Anything else from that trailer snippet? What about the Batman figure? What do you think of that?
Looks awesome.
Yeah, they're doing the bike as well,
which
is really cool. But I like that suit. The design looks really nice, but I would love them to do this new Riddler. with the with the kind of the gas mask and he's got cling film on his head.
Yeah. I know we're going off topic slightly, but the new Batman film, is that really what he's going to look like throughout the film? Or are we going to get more of a traditional Riddler?
No, I think that's it.
Would you do you want him prancing around in lycra?
Jim Carrey pulled it off.
No, he did not pull that off. He did not pull that off. Oh God, I hate that. That's like Jim Carrey's audition to be the Joker, and they went, "Oh, we can be the Riddler instead." Okay.
So this is the other question: Would you have multiple Batmans, or would you just be happy with having one? Like, would you give up the Keaton to get a different one, or?
No,
just an FYI, Peter. HotToys did a 1/6 scale Batmobile for the Keaton version too. So
also, they've got the George Clooney, or no, not George Clooney, the Val Kilmer Batman coming out as well. So you could have Keaton, Nipples, and then Batterson all together.
Yeah, let's move on. So the next thing we're going to do, guys, is we all kind of had a look at toy news and picked some things that we were looking forward to that were in the news, or things that we are potentially wanting to pick up next. So I just wanted to mention this when I was doing some research for a video on my channel, Doctor Strange Spec. So this is an image of some toys that are coming out in relation to the new Doctor Strange film. What do you think of them?
Well, I've limited what I've done, and I recommend this to any collector: set a rule, and however random and weird that rule may seem, it will limit you from going absolutely crazy and buying everything. So my Marvel Legends rule is that I only collect villains, and it's the comic book the comic book kind of looking versions. So for me, that's good because I can appreciate all these, but they won't fit into my collection. Obviously, you got the Sleepwalker and stuff like that, but no, they're cool. I just the problem is it just ruins films though. How early they show this stuff, like
it literally can spoil them sometimes.
Quite often they put out toy lines that have got nothing to do with the film, but don't they? Sometimes the figures they seem to advertise don't seem to have any relation to the movie.
Well, when you have a wave, they throw in typically 2 or 3 comic character ones just to kind of encourage everyone to buy all of them to get the Build-A-Figure. It's characters that they think aren't going to sell very well on their own.
So this was my problem. So like how Ben said about having some rules for yourself. So I decided that I was only going to get Retro Spider-Man, and then I wanted to collect Marvel monsters. The problem is that all the monsters are Build-A-Figures. So I started doing it, and then I just had to stop because I was having to buy things that I didn't want or buy them just complete on the secondhand market, and it's just too expensive.
Some of those Build-A-Figures go for big money, don't they, Luke?
So I decided to ditch those entirely and just focus on Spider-Man.
Yeah, what a lot of people do is they'll buy the whole wave, take the Build-A-Figure out, sell it for £5 cheaper, and a lot, if in the first week or two you'll get rid of them,
Yeah. So this was my pick for something I think I would love to order. I mean, I'm scared to find out how much this is going to cost. The main thing I want to pick up is Peggy. I love Captain Carter. I love that episode of What If. And I think that Captain Carter figure will go superbly stood next to Steve Rogers and Thor and Iron Man and Thanos.
One thing, though, I would have really liked a realistic head sculpt, like maybe as an option with this.
Yeah, because the problem is it's animated style, so she will look different to your end game stuff.
Like if it was an option, like a second head sculpt, that'd be cool. They probably should do that, but you'll get third parties that will jump on that then,
That Hydra Stomper is going to upset your Transformer because that's the size it should be.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? And I wonder if this is a bit like when Ben was talking about the most expensive toy earlier. If at the size of that thing, with I believe the Steve Rogers figure fits into it, that's going to be a pricey figure. I think I'll probably be going for Captain Carter rather than the full Hydra Stomper and all that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I haven't figured out, and I'll probably need you guys to show us how to pre-order and all that jazz, but I do want to pre-order the Captain Carter figure as soon as I can. So, Ben.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I jumped the gun and mentioned it before, but yeah. So here's just some images of that HotToys King Shark that I have pre-ordered through Toys Wonderland. So fingers crossed. I think it's already been set back to like August. So I've already waited like nearly a year for it. So good times. But the Mr. Dots, I think, is due in any time now, but the problem is it's Chinese New Year now, or in a week or so, I think, is it? And then everything shuts. Apparently, all the factories and that shut down for like a month.
That's right.
When it's like Chinese New Year, so the toys and stuff can be delayed. But yeah, I'm like the prospect of having a Suicide Squad in my cabinet is just so exciting to me right now.
They just announced a Bloodsport yesterday, I think, as well.
Yeah, so there's
third party.
There's two. So literally, Susu Toys announced one, and then I think it's Thunder Toys who are making this Mr. Dots announced their version of Bloodsport. I do prefer the Susu Toys one, just because I think the head sculpt of Idris is slightly better. So I think I might chop and change it. Between. I'm not too worried about bases and stuff like that. I just want to have the best figure.
So here's a question for you, because you guys know more about HotToys and things than I do. It feels like the marketing strategy to me is slightly off. So these figures are being released like a year and a half after the movie. Does it not make more sense for them to kind of come out around the same time? So you're punching on that kind of desire for them.
Well, one is that they take so long to make anyway. The people who make the toy might not get the design for a while, and then it takes a year and a half to produce it. So that's one reason, and then also spoilers as well.
Yeah,
like a TV show, they won't be privy to the character designs until the show comes out, probably or shortly before.
It's probably my biggest criticism of HotToys now is that you are pre-ordering stuff and you can wait a year and a half until that comes out, which. Yeah, for people that are after instant gratification, it's probably not pre-order.
That's me. I need it kind of now. When you pre-order, do you pay or do you pay later on, Ben?
I paid, but there are obviously installment plans and stuff that you can do on Toys Wonderland and Comics on St. Touring. But yeah, I paid in full, so I've just got to sit here like a lemon until it arrives now.
Yeah. What's that,
guys? Look, I'm trying the skull head on Tony Stark's body.
Oh, that's what that noise was.
Yeah, I was hoping you knew what that really annoying background noise was.
Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Yeah, so I mean, I gave you this image, and then about a day later, they actually released the proper kind of promo stills. So yeah, if you go to Susu Toys on Instagram, you can have a look at the Bloodsport in all of its glory. But that was just the teaser initially.
And it comes with some good weapon switch outs, because one of the things that I liked about Bloodsport was the way his weapons were like interchangeable and connecting together and stuff. And I noticed I had quite a few on the figure.
Yeah, the weapons that made no sense, but we all loved them.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. And I think HotToys kind of think they're shying away from like weapons and things like that, whereas third parties are just like,
yeah.
Give you weapons.
So, James,
I mean, this is going to be my next pickup. Like within the next month, I think I'll have one of these. Needed to go at Spidey. There's room on the shelf.
So is this out now, or is this a pre-order?
This just came out, I believe, the last two. So I'll probably get it set. I've seen a few people are already selling it secondhand for a little bit under retail, so I'll pick one up. The next time one pops up in a Facebook group, I'll just.
So is he the same scale as the Spidey, or is he built smaller?
I think he's a little smaller
because
Miles. Yeah, Miles is in the game slightly shorter, so I'd imagine he's to scale with my one.
So is that's from the computer game again?
Yeah. So the two of them would go together. Might do a little punch thing.
I love the look of that figure. I think that looks tremendous.
It's stunning. My favorite Miles costume, and I love the Into the Spider-Verse version, but this one's sleek.
Yeah. I like that a lot. That's another one to add to the list, I think. Why has he got a cat in the backpack?
It's the bodega cat. It's a thing in the game. It's a costume option, and like he'll like slap criminals for you and stuff. Like, and you can do like fight moves together where you throw them at like bad guys and stuff. You usually just play this game, man. It's awesome.
I haven't got a play. I've got a Xbox. I've got a
Of
decent
course.
machine, not a PS.
Yeah. Well, then you dug your own grave, Peter.
I have
Yeah,
no
so-
idea what these are, James.
So I don't know if you have an Xbox, you might not be familiar with the game Bloodborne. So this is kind of a thing. The 3 figures I have now, but as well as Miles, are the only official 1/6 scale figures like from PlayStation game, like first party Sony PlayStation games. So there's just a slew of 1/6 scale like third party ones. This is the Blood Hunter from Bloodborne, but it's like just they call it Blood Hunter instead. But this was one like I think looks really cool, and I'm tempted to, but I'd be gutted if I bought it and then they announced an official one down the road, you know, because Bloodborne is quite a popular game. If you hit the next slide, The Last of Us, again, one of my favorite franchises. So one I'm tempted to get, but I'd be gutted if they just announced a genuine one right away.
They look like nice figures, James. I like them.
Yeah, there's a NECA version coming out soon, so I have that pre-ordered.
Yeah.
But I would really love, like, especially to go with like Nathan Drake and stuff, like 1/6.
Looks tremendous.
Yeah.
I just want to jump to the comments here where Stevens mentioned a Galactus figure. I would love a Galactus figure. I've not seen that one, Stephen.
It would be life size, wouldn't it? It'd be
That's the
human size,
HasLab.
like.
Yeah, that's the HasLabs one. So you won't get one of those unless you buy it on the secondary market now.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, they're crazy money.
Yeah.
Is HasLabs, because I saw someone did a Unicron not so long ago. Was that HasLabs as well, or was that someone different? There was this amazing, massive, full-scale kind of Unicron thing. Not seen that?
Not sure.
Yeah.
HasLabs has been doing they've done the Sentinel first, then they've done Galactus, and then they've done things like the Proton Pack and stuff, which I believe Ben has purchased.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you know, it's like a Kickstarter. So once you miss it, it's
Right, yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So I'll have to have a look into HasLabs because I would love a Galactus. That would have been amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okie dokie. Luke.
Yeah, so this isn't a pre-order. This has been out for a very long time. It's just something that I would love to own. I am a huge fan of this movie. Absolutely love it. Would recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. Leon the Professional. I won't go into details about the movie, but it's just an awesome character and an awesome figure to have. So they do, of course, Leon, and then they do the figure of the little girl Matilda as well. I would love to own both of them at some point.
I mean, again, like I've just been describing, I'm a sucker for accessories, and it looks like you get a whole host of bits and bobs to play with there.
Yeah.
I like the look of that.
Good thing about that would be you could apply those to other figures too.
Ooh,
Kinda
I've just
hand
got a
runs and stuff like-
Galactus.
You could use the plant. You could use the plant and have a. You can buy the 1/6 scale British policeman. Get the plant, buy a British policeman, and then a Simon Pegg head sculpt, and you got a Hot Fuzz figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Tremendous. Love it. Right, guys. So that's pretty much, we're coming to the end of the show. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about in relation to Hot Toys or 1/6 figures? Anything we've not covered tonight?
They're expensive.
Yeah. I
That's
would
the
agree
point
with
we should throw at the end of this. I would have way more of them if they weren't so bloody expensive.
Yeah.
I think as well as that, like in America, you get one for $240. How much if you walked into Forbidden Planet would they cost you? Like 300-ish pounds?
Oh,
I mean,
Forbidden Planet always take the mick with their
I was
prices.
going to say that's a fair point because I went into FP in Newcastle a while ago and they've got all of their Hot Toys in like a big glass cabinet thing. And there was like £100 on the prices that I'd seen on them on eBay and places like that. It seemed obscene, the money they were asking for. But yeah, interesting stuff. Right, guys. Well, thank you very much. That's been really interesting. Great. Yeah, print room with 3D. That would be good, Ian.
That'd be good.
It would save us a bit of money.
Yeah,
I think this show's been really interesting. We've touched on quite a lot of stuff with the Hot Toys. Looking forward to the next time. So just for everybody's information, we're going to be doing this every other month. Each month's going to be a slightly different focus. That said, the Fantastic Four here, we are doing quite a lot of shows together now. So our next show is going to be What If, which is on 22nd of February, where we're looking at Batman. You guys excited about that?
Hell
More
yeah.
excited than I thought I would be.
So the gents have been messaging backwards and forwards. I know all of you have pretty much got your ideas sorted. I know you've got some plans in place. We'll see how it goes in terms of guests, but I might join in again on this one because I enjoyed my X-Men one. So, I know you've enjoyed my Sorcerer Supreme Rat and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see if we can incorporate that into this one. So that's our next show together, which is What If Batman on 22nd of Feb. And then the next month, we've got Boys and the Toys again, which is on the 29th of March, where we're going to be looking at NECA figures. And Luke is going to take the reins on this one and talk to a little bit about NECA. And then we're going to do the same format in that we're going to talk a little bit about what NECA figures we all have. So looking forward to that one, guys. So with that said, just want to thank you all. It's been a really interesting show. Thank you to everybody in the comments. We've had loads of comments, lots of people joining in. And we'll look forward to seeing you all on the next one. So before we end, just to mention, on my channel, I've got my usual unboxings. I'm going to start doing some toy unboxings because I like Ben and I'm copying off him. And we've got all kinds of...
I'm copying off, 10 other YouTubers, so I won't worry.
James, what you got coming up on your channel?
So on the 2nd of February, I have a video called Destruction All-Stars 1 year later. So it's just looking at this kind of multiplayer game that came out last February that kind of didn't really hit with an audience. And just to see how it's kind of evolved since then and whether there's any chance it will kind of regain success.
Tremendous. Look forward to that one. Luke?
So my channel, Hydra Collectibles, has basically gained some more additional time with my little boy now going to school. So I've opted to try and push for at least 2 videos per week now. Plenty over there for you guys to watch. I've been joined by Peter and Ben already on certain segments, and James and I are currently working on something behind the scenes that we hope to bring to you guys soon. So this nice little team that we have here is going really well.
Excellent. Thanks, Luke. Ben, what you got coming up?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of toy action for you toy fans on my channel. So a couple of unboxings on there for you to watch. And then if you want to join us for a live show on, what did I say, Thursday the 17th, is it? For the Book of Boba Fett review. So I'll be joined by my fellow sand people here to give a review on the Book of Boba Fett.
That's going to be an interesting one, Ben, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
I feel like we're going to fall out. So if you want a reason to watch,
we'll see how the last 2 go. Okay,
we survived Star Wars versus Star Trek, and you agreed that Star Trek was better. So we'll see how this one goes. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I like the mods. Okay, there, I said it.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, guys, and thank you to everybody that's joined us tonight. We'll call it a night there, and we'll catch you next time. Take care, everyone.
Peace.